Good afternoon. Welcome. We join me to stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks for being here today. We'll get started with the minutes for May 20th, 2014. Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Payroll, June the 30th, 2014. Motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And the approval of employee benefit fund distribution for June 2014. Motion is second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Right. Oh, did I miss the claims? Yeah. Claims, June 3rd, 19th and 26th, 2015. Motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we have some appointments to make: the Airport Authority Board, the Juvenile Service Center Building Corporation Board, and the Library Board of Trustees. If you have any nominations?
I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of Howard Sewell to the Airport Authority.
Motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of Glenn Ravenberger to the Juvenile Service Center Building Corporation.
Motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
And I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of Steve Summers to the Porter County Public Library Board.
Motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'd just like to add a little footnote there. We truly appreciate everyone that applies for these positions, because at times it really gets difficult to find people that are willing to give their time and energy for these types of situations. So we really do appreciate everyone that applies for these types of positions. Okay, we've got an ordinance establishing a deferred compensation plan for employees of the Porter County Sheriff's Department. This is second reading. I don't see anybody here from the Sheriff's Department. The public hearing portion is already closed. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance establishing a deferred compensation plan for employees of the Porter County Sheriff's Department.
Motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Roof replacement rebid recommendation. Let me see if my cable's here from DLZ. This is for the museum.
As you're aware, we redid the museum roof after discussion with the director there. We did put shingles in, thinking more to the character of the historic home. We could not go back on the bids before, which did have an asphalt option. So therefore, we got new quotes for this. Our bid is a quote less than $150,000 from the statute. We solicited 8 contractors, received 4, as you can see in your summary. The lowest bidder at $78,178 was Corellis Roofing out of Hammond. The second lowest bidder was Marison Son of Dakota for $79,113. We did interview the 2 low bidders. Corellis, the low bidder, said he could not make the schedule of them begin work until after the end of July. We did 45 days completion date. Maris, on the other hand, said they could start immediately on giving them a notice to proceed to complete within the schedule. The difference between low bidder Corellis and Marison Son, the second lowest bidder, was $939. So we made our recommendation letter based on schedule. Your opinion, if you'd like to speak. If not, second bidder. I know it's in bad shape. Could it last
After last night, if it wasn't leaking. Commissioner Adams and I were talking about this earlier today, and her suggestion was, and I don't even know whether it's feasible or not, is to remove all the tile and do a shingle roof that was more expensive tile that's all being done. If we could do that for the cost of what we're going to replace on the tile side, I think we could get a worthwhile project.
It could be that the shingle roof was an option in the bids. We elected to go with the other one because, the shingles, they say it's a 30-year shingle, it's 20 years or so, you're going to replace the shingle. Whereas the product was specified as more durable, long lasting, you should go a decade. That's quote me on this, but I mean, it's infinitely better. So we certainly appreciate getting all the road, and that will be a factor in that examination. That money that the judges found in the building code, plus the allowances, we did have a savings on the museum, so there's some monies there. You permit us to do an evaluation of the satisfaction of the people who do the second one.
That'd be fine.
Including schools, right?
Yeah, that'd be fair.
We'll consider it, yes.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, bring it to speed is, I know it's in the notes on it, late, but we'll be issuing codes for the air conditioning units at the 911 dispatch room and the sheriff's server room. We're going to time those codes to come in the day before the next meeting, deliver to Melissa, open in those days. Have those open and closed, and we'll have a recommendation in your resolution.
Very good.
Okay. Any questions?
Good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Office holders and department heads, before we begin that section, this is a letter I sent via email this morning to all members of the county council and my fellow commissioners, and I thought that we should discuss the public know what's going on. It's dated today, and it's addressed to members of the Board of Commissioners and members of the Board of County Council. Ladies and gentlemen, since our joint meeting in March, when we heard the recommendations of the Hall Renter on investment options currently available to us for the hospital proceeds money, there has been positive forward momentum in developing an investment strategy. The council has issued and received requests for proposals from Community Foundation and has begun laying the groundwork to establish a new private foundation. As I'm sure you all will agree, it is imperative that we continue working together to assure that we have conducted a thorough analysis of all investment options that are available to us and determine the best option or mix of options that would meet our goals. While the Hall Render report was comprehensive in its analysis of currently legal options, it did not address the potential of legislation that would expand a local government body's investment authority to include longer-term investments and/or a wider array of investment vehicles. You may be aware that when the state of Indiana sold the Indiana Toll Road, it found itself in the same limited investment /low return dilemma as the Porter and Elkhart counties now find themselves. The General Assembly enacted what is now called the Major Moves legislation, which expanded the state's investment options to include both longer-term investments and additional investment options that would provide a significant higher return. The legislation was written by attorney Brian Burdick, a partner in Barnes & Thornburg, LLP. Mr. Burdick concentrates his practice in the areas of government service and public finance. He serves as general counsel to the Indiana County Treasurers Association and the Indiana Bond Bank. His government services practice focused primarily on representing both public and private clients before the state and local regulatory bodies and administrative agencies, counseling them on public contracting and bidding, state and local governments' ethics, laws, financing, and transactions. Mr. Burdick served as Deputy Treasurer of the state of Indiana under State Treasurer Marjorie O'Loughlin from 1991 until he joined Barnes & Thornburg in 1995. In his capacity, he managed the state's $2.5 billion investment portfolio and advised the Treasurer on various tax-exempt financing matters. I've had several discussions with Mr. Burdick about the options and his opinion on legislation to provide Porter County similar investment options with the state that the state provided itself with the Major Moves legislation. I would like the council and the commissioners to have the opportunity to hear directly from Mr. Burdick not intended to be a substitute for or a replacement of the private foundation vehicle. The council should continue its work to establish said foundation. Instead, it is simply to assure that we have done thorough and due diligence in examining all the options available to us. I have contacted Mr. Burdick about such a meeting, and he would be able to attend an evening meeting on either July 21st, 28th, or the 30th. And I have asked the council to contact our secretary, Kathy Burley, here in the Commissioner's office with their availability for those dates. And because the 4th of July is this week, it is a holiday, I would appreciate having the replies in no later than Thursday, July the 3rd, and it's signed by myself, John, as President of Council. I just want people to not think that we're forgetting about this issue and that we want to make sure that it continues to move forward. And I think this is the best option to do it. I don't know anybody better in the state of Indiana to direct this endeavor.
Well, we're talking about this, the council wanted our support to move forward with the foundation, so I'd like to move that we support the council's efforts to do the necessary paperwork to get our foundation.
Motion to second. All those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
And then the other one is to get on the agenda for next time.
Okay, good.
What we have in mind.
He knows we need to do that. Okay. Office holders, department heads. We're scratching the upper house off there, and juvenile detention. Carpet replacement, commercial range replacement, relocate security camera proposal. It's Allison.
Hi.
How are you, Allison?
Hi. I'm hanging in there with all this rain in our roof, so thank you for considering looking at that. I appreciate that. We had another incident last night.
Did you have to evacuate the building?
We almost had to evacuate the kids at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Into the store?
Yep.
Maybe we should just get buckets for everybody.
There's buckets all over the center already, so we're doing that now. Okay, in regards to, I'll start with the camera. You have a bid in front of you from CN Convergence Security Solutions in regards to moving a camera out of our 4D office and into the front waiting room of the Juvenile Services Center. When we first got the new security system put into place, the camera we put in this office area that was going to be used for something else. It's now an office, so we don't really want a camera in somebody's office. However, we noticed that there wasn't a camera in the front waiting room, so security can see what's going on in there. So instead of putting a new camera in there, we just said, can we please move that one from the office into there? So the price number one in front of you is what we are requesting be done for $980.
Discussion? Question?
When will it, should this work, all the carpet too, wait until we have the new
Actually, where the carpet, I'll go on the carpet next, okay. The carpet bid, where we're having some leakage is not on the wings as much as where the kids are housed. It's more in the walking area, in our multi-purpose area, right outside the patrol room, and right outside our classroom area. So it's not where the kids are residing. The carpet bid that you have in front of you is what we have on each wing where the kids are housed. There's large area carpeting. The problem with that is that it's being tacked down with metal strips. Right, we're a secure facility. I don't know who thought about putting metal strips to tack down carpet, but they did, and that could be used as a weapon. Some of them are coming up, kids try to pry them up. The carpet's starting to ravel up in certain areas. So at this point, we would like to get those replaced, non-metal tacking down. Instead, I believe it's going to be some plastic, rubber, tacking down process. So, but in regards to the roof, over in that area, no, we do not have leaks in that area. And in regards to looking at the bid, we did get the pre-bid. The one from Village is the one that we are requesting to go with at this time. It is the cheapest. That is the cheapest one.
All the same carpet thing?
It's all the same, it's just, yes.
Okay. You want to separately, or should we do them all at once, or? Okay, we got a first, then, let's talk about camera. Is there a motion to approve the,
Make a motion to approve the relocation of security camera by camera conversion of security systems for $980 to take on official contractual services agreement.
motion second? Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carried. And the carpet replacement?
I'll make a motion to approve the replacement of carpet at the juvenile detention center by Village Carpet and Tiles Incorporated for $3,376 to be taken out of PCD 4210 building.
Motion second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Now we're gonna talk about your rain.
Yeah, our stove, at this time, we've been having numerous issues with the existing stove in our kitchen. We've had maintenance come out several times to look at it. It is, I believe, the original of the building, with the building. It's actually setting up on a cement block towards the back because one of the casters came off, which is extremely dangerous. We also had a gas leak from it pretty recently, in which we did have to call NIPSCO out. I have talked to Jerry on several occasions about this, and he is even recommending at this time that we get it replaced immediately. So the bid's in front of you. We are recommending the CT design bid at this time. We did like the product design specifications. We did talk to our kitchen manager, who very much appreciates the shut-off gas line function in front of the stove, because right now it's behind and you have to reach the line, and it's pretty dangerous. It has a battery start ignition. It has flame failure protection, and we just feel that the bid from CT Design would be the best at this time.
Motion? Motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the rates for the juvenile detention center with C&T Design and equipment in the amount of $2,626.35 to be taken out of the CDIP 2020 account 4540.
Design one or design two?
Okay.
Oh, design one or design?
First item.
Motion and a second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Walter, Park Department, American Water Grant, that is for Walter's not here, but he wants us to endorse the letter. Have you had a chance to look at the letter? The letter is addressed to Mr. Jim O'Connor, Senior Manager of Grants and Partnership National Recreation and Park Association, and it's a letter in support of the grant that the Park Department is applying for. I don't think we need to have Walter here to endorse it, and I'll go ahead and sign it, it's okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the letter of support for the American Water Building Better Community Grant.
Motion is second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Oh, Rich was here, we should have made you come up here and do a song and dance.
I smile when you look back this way.
But you don't look like Walter. Correspondence. We have on file the Weights and Measures Monthly Report for May 16th and June the 15th, 2014. We have a request for approval by the South Haven American Legion Post 502 to close the west end of County Road 750 North at 450 West and have a barricade at the end of 750 North for a community festival to be held on August the 1st and 2nd, 2014. Anyone heard of that one? This is something we've done in the past. I think this is probably about the 8th, 9th, or 10th year that this happened. I'd say the cabinet, of course, is the result of the sheriff, police, and I'm sure they already have. Is there a motion? Motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have a request for transfer of funds for the Commissioners Fund 1,010.30, $14,203.13 from 12/30 PERC to 34/30 Workman's Compensation. And this is covered workman's compensation audit for the Sheriff's Department. Motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. replacement, of the courthouse mail machines. We're not gonna rent it, who's got that? Sheriff, you got it? Okay. Don't we usually lease these? So then does it come with a maintenance agreement or? So have we got bids on them or do we know what it costs?
We upgraded the one here at last year.
So we're going to do the same type of replacement? What it costs? And we're going to take those funds. Motion is second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Carries. And I have a request for approval of Barnes and Thornburg LLP to serve as state legislative lobbyist, counsel to the Portsmouth Board of Commissioners. Second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Carries. We have a resolution opposing truck size and weight increase. Whereas the Commissioners are concerned with the welfare of motorists and quality of reliability of the nation's infrastructure, and whereas large trucks have fatal crash involvement rate 40% higher than that of passenger vehicles, according to the National Highway Safety Administration, and whereas in Indiana, there are 3,753 injuries and 110 fatalities in 2013 involving semi-trucks. Whereas every crash imposes both human and economic costs, as well as significant cleanup burden that can require many hours and impede other traffic. And whereas allowing heavier or longer trucks would threaten the safety of other motorists as well as the law enforcement officers, because heavier and longer trucks would be more difficult to control, take longer to stop, and increase crash severity. And whereas nearly 20% of commercial vehicles inspected are taken out of service for mechanical problems, which are most commonly brake issues, the trucks without in-service braking conditions are 1.8 times more likely to be assigned crash responsibility. And whereas governmental studies have raised questions about the safety of equipment modified to haul heavier loads, and whereas more than half the bridges in the national highway system are more than 40 years old, and nearly 10% of bridges in Indiana are rated as structurally deficient or functionally obsolete. And whereas trucks heavier than 80,000 pounds also raise concerns related to the nation's deteriorating infrastructure because they are likely to accelerate and deteriorate of the road surfaces and bridges. Whereas government highway cost allocation studies have shown that the damage done to our roads and bridges by heavy trucks in legal operation today is not covered by their payments, and whereas the payments by other motorists effectively subsidize the operation of heavy trucks in legal operation today, and whereas government highway cost allocation studies show that increase in truck size and weight would exacerbate the existing underpayment of heavy trucks and inequity between payments of other motorists and heavy truck operators. Now therefore be it resolved that the Commissioners oppose any increase in truck size or weight at all levels of government. This resolution is adopted and passed this date, 2014. Is there a motion? Motion and a second to pass resolution 14 what would we call it? 05. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. And then we have another resolution. Have you got Rick, copy of that one? therapy and other medical treatments and therapy for TBI. Whereas the signature wound of Iraq and Afghanistan is a traumatic brain injury, TBI, and a significant health issue for Indiana veterans returning from service in Iraq and Afghanistan. Operating Enduring Freedom, OEF, Operating Iraq Freedom, OIF, and whereas the effects of these conditions are usually long-lasting and often life-threatening, resulting in suicide in some instances, and currently there are no definitive medical treatments for TBI, and the treatments being provided today are only palliative drugs, and whereas several well-documented more curative therapies are available, including hyperbaric oxygen therapy, HBOT, that offer additional alternative curative ways to restore affected patients' lives and minds. And whereas numerous studies have demonstrated that the untreated lingering effects of these injuries adversely impact patients' lives, frequently resulting in destroyed families, drug and alcohol abuse, unemployment, and mental illness. And whereas these types of injury is not veteran-specific, but includes injuries caused by motor vehicle accidents, amateur and professional contact sports, and any other situation where a head injury can result. Whereas these results show up in society and communities as increased unemployment rates, public health care treatment costs, mental illness costs, alcohol and drug treatment costs, family breakups, and disruptive lives. And whereas neither the Veterans Administration, military medicine, nor Medicare will reimburse the medical practitioner for HBOT to help these patients. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners urge the government of the state of Indiana to provide appropriate funding and focus to provide result-oriented, evidence-based, proven treatment, including hyperbaric oxygen therapy for returning Indiana veterans and other patients that suffered these residual effects of TBI. This resolution passed this date in 2014. Is there a motion? Motion? And a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. I was given this today, too, in regard to these type of injuries, that veterans that suffer these are at a higher risk for Alzheimer's as well as many other things. So, it's a very good thing. Okay. We have a change order from EC Babilla Incorporated regarding roof replacement and maintenance at the garage in Hebron. This one's kind of neat because it's a lower than the mountains. How much is it? $9,000 less? Is that yes, we take those all day long. So, is there a motion? Motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, did I miss anything? Okay, so this portion will be, we need to speak about this. It's on the agenda as a public hearing, and it is really being a public hearing. This is a notice of a public hearing to be held on July the 15th. There will not be a public hearing today, and that's on the proposed rate reestablishment. It's not an increase. I read your article. It's not an increase in the taxes. It's a proposed reestablishment of the cumulative capital development fund rate. So, and we're going to do that at a hearing on July the 15th. There are certain specified requirements for the advertisement that we will make sure we make before that meeting. So, public hearing July 15th for the reestablishment of the CCD fund rate. Okay, anybody wish to address this body? Anybody? We stand in recess. We'll open as